doing it for so long, so they have built up I wouldn't say just as many fans as they have haters against them, but they have built up that because they've been successful. I don't know a successful team that people like. Well, maybe Golden State the first year, they were cute, Steph and Clay and them. Then after that, here comes the hate. Right now, here comes the hate. So in New England, based on the franchise, they've been so successful. Now, this is not one of the more talented New England teams that we've seen. So some of the criticism, Tom Brady, I can understand. Even Tom needs some type of motivation. But he wouldn't say, based on their road record, their losing road record, that's not a good sign for a New England team. You're not playing good championship football on the road. You can only do it at home. So I believe that some of the criticism is valid in what they're doing. If you look at the number of wide receivers, if you look at Josh Gordon now being off the team and him kind of saving it, Gronk being the lack of receiving threat that Gronk is right now. No, this is not a great New England team. But can they put together 60 minutes of great football to be able to get to a Super Bowl again? Yes, they can. They can go to Kansas City and beat Kansas City.
Listen, of course, some of it is Patriot fatigue or just the general dislike of the team outside of the New England area. People, it's something University of Alabama deals with to a degree as well, which is people just want new blood.
Yankees
something new.
Do it.
Sure. And so, yes, that's an element of it. But when Tom Brady says everyone thinks we suck, can't win a game, while that's overstating it, what is correct is this is the most doubted the Pats have been in the last decade. This is the year that through it even by December, it's like, I don't know if they're going to figure this out. I saw more people, myself included, picking them to lose a home playoff game than any time that I can remember. But it wasn't without evidence. This team had the most losses a Patriots team has had in a decade. For the first time in a decade. Not one, not two, not three, but 5 teams in the NFL had a better record than the New England Patriots. The first Belichick team to get blown out 3 times on the road. Like, there were a lot of signs to say, oh, wait, they're not better than the Chargers. Now,
the opposition in this game, the Chargers, their roster is stacked from top to bottom. They got 2 former head coaches, their offense and defensive coordinator, Gus Bradley and Ken Wisenhunt. They got a quarterback that's only missing a signature moment in the playoffs to go along with his already Hall of Fame career. So it was a number of things that had happened, and these Chargers come into town.
But you can also add to that, Gronk is just a shell of himself. They had no Josh Gordon anymore by the end of the season. I mean, the receivers, top to bottom, were not playing. Yes, that's all.
And that's where, and I got to own it. That's where I got this game the most wrong. Is I looked at the evidence of the regular season, I looked at the talent on the opposition, I looked at all of that and said, man, the Chargers are better. They've played better, they played a tougher schedule, they had a better record, they have more talent. What I didn't account for is what I'll just call the GOAT factor. You got the GOAT quarterback and the GOAT coach, and you only need one of those two to be spectacular, to win a home playoff game when you're rested and the other team's coming off another cross-country flight. And Brady statistically was as good as you can be, but I know you thought Belichick won them this game with his game plan, with what they were doing with the running backs, and that's all they needed. And I didn't account for, and I think a lot of people didn't account for, how almost impossible it is to go into that building when they're rested in January, when they've had this time to game plan to prepare, and beat them. And that's why they annihilated the Chargers.
And one thing the Chargers really underestimated, they underestimated Bill Belichick. And if Bill Belichick was to play 7 defensive backs, if he was to do what Gus Bradley did against the Baltimore Ravens, that's like trying to fight a fight in a phone booth, because you know their quarterback's limited, so they're going to fight in a phone booth. So you would think New England, they're not going to fight a fight like that. New England's actually better at fighting a fight that way because of Sony Michel, because their center and their 2 guards, the strong suit to those.
Because they got a fullback.
And they got a fullback. They got Gronk, the best end-of-the-line blocker outside of Kelsey. Might have passed him this year as an all-around tight end, but Gronk is still exceptional blocking as a tight end. So if you're going to play the game that way, you never would have thought New England would have been better at what the Chargers did last week at Baltimore. But Tom Brady, those third downs, those play action passes across the middle that was breaking up this defense, those were the differences in this game. Belichick's ability to be able to adapt, saying, if I was to play 7 DBs, what would hurt me? A tight end and a fullback blocking, and that's what they utilize with Josh McDaniels in this offense.
All right, so the Patriots move on to face the Chiefs. That's the AFC story. In the NFC, back to Drew Brees and the Saints taking on a red-hot Nick Foles and the Philadelphia Eagles. Foles would open up the scoring in the first with a touchdown to Jordan Matthews, and the Eagles jumped up 14-0 early over New Orleans, but the Saints crawled back third quarter down 4. Brees to Michael Thomas. Thomas, 171 yards on the day. Eagles, though, had a chance to win it down 6 driving, but Foles to Alshon Jeffrey, the ball right through Jeffrey's hands. He can't believe it. Saints go on to win. They're moving on. 20-14 was your final. Here's Saints head coach Sean Payton after the game.
I'm proud of those guys. I'm proud of that locker room. They fought through a lot and, managed to get the win. And, again, these are tough games.
I'll take that loss. That's on me. Let all my teammates down. City of Philadelphia, that's on me. I'll take that.
You win through losses. You win through wins. This is something that, all of us are going to learn from and we'll be better for. I've talked a lot about, my career in the NFL and the ups and downs. You're always learning. And, we learned a lot tonight. And it's tough, but we'll keep moving on.
All right, what was the key to this one? Nick, how were the Saints able to win this game?
Well, listen, I know people are going to focus on the Alshon Jeffrey drop that turned into the game-ending interception. It was finally, in this amazing run of the last couple of years, one bounce that didn't go Philadelphia's way. But they were lucky to even be in that position, because if Will Lutz makes his field goal, they're down 9 and the game's over. To me, there was a sequence early in the game when the Eagles were in full control, 2 plays that did not go their way. The strip sack on Drew Brees that Brandon Graham has.
Yes.
If he recovers that fumble, they have it in the red zone, ready to go up 21-0, at least going to go up 17-0. He doesn't, so the Saints punt. And then so that's just kind of bad luck. I guess they would have had it right outside the red zone. And then after the punt, a great play by Doug Peterson. Zach Ertz is streaking down the sideline, ready to go up 21-0, and that's, as I say, past the sticks. That is game over.
Yep.
And Nick Foles underthrows him. And Lattimore makes a great play. That flipped the momentum to go along with the very gutsy fake punt. And the Saints, who are the better team, were in full control from that moment forward.
Yeah, that was a great play by Lattimore. And you mentioned Doug Peterson. They do have Zach Ertz. They called the perfect play. They got the perfect defense. I mean, they're coming into this game. They're not thinking, man, we're getting ready to go up by 3 scores. Even if Zach Ertz, if they just get a completion, it's going to be another 3. So that deficit's going to be hard to overcome. But, man, they stick a dagger in them. If they complete this for a touchdown, the way Nick Foles was spreading the ball around, first touchdown, he throws Jordan Matthews open. Jordan Matthews is not open. He puts enough arc on the ball that he's able to run past that corner and safety and split the coverage and score. And Zach Ertz is going to finish this play if he puts it out in front of him. Huge play there in the game. Also, when Lattimore intercepts it, he goes to the end zone, and they pose for those pitchers, and that right there was just like gasoline on a small lit fire there in the dome. And after that, you could start to see time of possession. They dominate. After only having it 5 minutes in the first quarter, they had at least 10 minutes in the second, third, and the fourth.
And that drive to start the second half.
Yeah, their first drive of the second half.
The Saints' first drive of the second half, where they took their first lead. They had 11 minutes time possession on the drive. They went over 100 yards because of penalties. That made it very clear. The Saints are better and the Saints are in control.